Alright, what's happening everybody? It's your boy Akeem and welcome to today's vlog. I'm here to give you my AFC West Division grades for the picks of this year's NFL Draft. I'm going to start with the San Diego Chargers. They had an okay draft. They picked up Corey Ludwig, their first round selection out of Illinois. He's a defensive tackle. He has fantastic mobility and he can penetrate the backfield with force and power. Good selection. In the second round they had two picks. They picked up Marcus Gilchrist, the secondary player out of Clemson. He's a versatile player who could play both the cornerback and the safety position, and he could help as a return specialist as well. In their second pick, they picked up Jonas Mouton, the linebacker out of Michigan. He had 117 tackles last season. Last year, San Diego lacked great progress out of their linebacking core, and they really need a reliable tackler, and Mouton can be that player. In the third round, they picked up Vincent Brown, the receiver out of San Diego State. He's a good, reliable player. Last season, the wide receiving core lacked the consistency and production for the San Diego Chargers, and they really need to pick up a receiver opposite of Vincent Jackson. With Vincent Jackson's absence, they had a couple of good games from some players like Malcolm Floyd. He had a couple of good games, but he was inconsistent, and they really needed a good receiver opposite of Vincent Jackson who can be consistent week after week. So Vincent Brown was a good choice. They also picked up Jordan Todman in the 6th round. I thought this was a steal. He was one of my top 5 running backs coming into this year's draft, and I was shocked that he dropped to the 6th round. He's this nice scat back, and he has a good speed burst, cut in between each holes, and I think he could complement Ryan Matthews very well, and Mike Tolbert. I think they're going to use Mike Tolbert more as a short yardage back and a goal line back, and I think they can have a great 1-2-3 punch at the running back position. So overall, I would have to give this team a B-. Decent draft. Next, I'm going to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. They picked up John Bolden, the receiver out of Pittsburgh, with their first round selection. He could work well opposite of Dwayne Bowe. Both of them will be big targets. I do like this player. He has a good catching radius as a player, and he caught a couple of circus catches last season at Pittsburgh, and I think he could be a great fit opposite of Dwayne Bowe. And they picked up Rodney Hudson. He's a good leverage guard coming out of Florida State. He was the 2-time best lineman of the year in the ACC, so this was a good selection. He can open up more holes for Jamal Charles, who was a Pro Bowler last season. And they picked up two third round selections at the defensive end position. Justin Houston out of Georgia and Allen Bailey out of Miami. Now, Allen Bailey, he is a bully, and he could manhandle a couple of linemen that he faces against. He's a big guy. And they also picked up Justin Houston. He's a great pass rusher. He could rush off the edge. He's a massive player, 6'2", 270 pounds. These two players can help out that defensive line for Kansas City. And the 5th round selection, they picked up a good quarterback to back up Matt Castle. Ricky Stanzi out of Iowa. As each year of his college football career, he has improved each year, and plus he played under the center and has some progress with that. And I think he could be a good backup in the NFL, maybe even start in the future. I think this kid has a lot of potential. So overall, I would have to give this team a solid B. They had a good draft in my opinion. Next, I'm going to talk about the Oakland Raiders. I did not really like their draft. They didn't really have a first pick until the 2nd round. They picked up Stephen Wisniewski, the center out of Penn State. That was a decent selection. But the next picks, I was just a little bit confused. They picked up DeMarcus Van Dyke in the 3rd round, the cornerback out of Miami. He did not produce well in his career in college football. He had a great workout though. He ran a 4.240, and I knew that opened up Al Davis's eyes. He loves players with speed. He has a lot of speed, but he didn't have no great productivity while he was at Miami. Last season he had 20 tackles with just 5 pass breakups. Wow. With all of that speed, I'm surprised he didn't do better. Plus, he's a little skinny. He's at 6 foot, 175 pounds. So I'm a little bit confused with his strength. I don't think they should have went with this kid. But they also picked up a decent cornerback in the 4th round with Chimbi Chekwa, the cornerback out of Iowa State. That was a decent selection. He had a little bit more of a productive career than Van Dyke. But I didn't really like the Van Dyke pick. And in the 3rd round, they picked up Joseph Barksdale. He's a decent offensive tackle out of LSU, but I think they could have went better at that position. Now, in the 4th round, they picked up a good running back in Tawan Jones, the running back out of Eastern Illinois. He's a very fast, dynamic, blazing speed kid, and I really like this selection. He can catch the ball outside of the backfield and be a good receiver. The only thing that could be a setback is that he's dyslexic, so he might struggle understanding the plays and the formations and the defense that he plays against. But I think this kid is a good project. Now, in the 5th round, they picked up a good deep threat wide receiver in Denarius Moore, the receiver out of Tennessee. He averaged 20 yards per catch last season, so he could be a good deep threat. Darius Heyward-Bey turned out to be a bust in the NFL thus far. He really needs to step up this year. So that's probably why they picked up Moore. And in the 7th round, I didn't really like this selection. They picked up receiver David Ausberry out of USC. I think he underachieved in his college football career. He could have did a lot better, but he had to deal with a lot of injuries, and I do not understand why Al Davis went with this one in the 7th round. So overall, I'll have to give this team a C-. I do like the Tawan Jones pick and the Chinmi Chekwa pick, but I think Tawan Jones might be a problem in the future because of the NFL lockout and the fact that he has dyslexia. This could be a problem if he gets the playbooks very late into the season. He might struggle understanding the system of his team and catching up with his teammates. So that could be a bad situation for them. So I have to give this team a C-. Plus, I didn't really like their picks. So now I'm going to talk about the Broncos, the Denver Broncos. They had a better draft, way better draft than the Oakland Raiders. They started out with their 1st round selection, Von Miller, the outside linebacker / DN out of Texas A&M. He is arguably the best pass rusher coming into the NFL this season. He's a great player. The Butkus Award winner. He could also step back and play linebacker, defensive end. He's a great player, versatile player, and I think he could play in more than one scheme. So I do like his versatility. And in their 2nd round pick, they picked up Raheem Moore, the safety out of UCLA. In 2009, he led the nation with 10 interceptions. So that shows me that he could do some playmaking ability. And they also picked up another safety in the 4th round, Quentin Carter out of Oklahoma. He's a more of a stronger, tough, physical player than Moore, and he could deliver knockout blows. And I do like this selection. I think they needed more players in the safety position to replace Ronaldo Hill and Brian Dawkins. And Quentin Carter and Raheem Moore can be a great fit, playing both the strong and free safety and work well together. And in the 3rd round, they picked up a great inside linebacker in Nate Irvin out of NC State. He missed the 2009 season due to multiple injuries, but in 2010, he was first-team All-ACC and had 21 tackles for loss. That is amazing for an inside linebacker. So that means he can penetrate the line of scrimmage and get inside of that backfield. He's a great blitzer, and I think he could fit well with DJ Williams and Mario Higgins in the linebacker corps. In the 2nd round, they addressed the offense. They picked up Orlando Franklin, the offensive tackle out of Miami. He's a big kid, durable kid with a lot of experience with the top-notch competition. So they do need some help in the offensive line. And they picked up 2 tight ends in the 4th and 7th round. In the 4th round, they picked up Julius Thomas, the tight end out of Portland State. He has great hands, and he looks like he showed that he could sustain the block in the East-West Shrine game and the practices for the East-West Shrine game. He's a great blocker, and they do need a good blocking tight end. And they picked up a receiving tight end with Virgil Green out of Nevada. He caught a couple of touchdown passes from Colin Kaepernick, and I think he could be a good receiver tight end in the NFL. But we will see. So they did address the offensive side. So overall, I would have to give this team a B+. They had a solid draft. I do like the pick of Von Miller. I think he could be the next Clay Matthews, probably be a Pro Bowl right away, defensive player of the year in the future. I do like their selections overall, especially the Von Miller pick at number 2. So I have to give this team a B+. For tomorrow's video, I'm going to talk about the AFC South Division and give you my grades for them. Thank you for watching today's blog. I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.